what Obama did this week instead of attending Billy Graham's funeral. The memorial services for America's Pastor Billy Graham continue this week as former presidents and politicians paid their respect to the man who served God with all his heart. This past week we have seen former President George W. Bush and former President Bill Clinton honoring Reverend Billy Graham in separate services, with President Trump attending Graham's funeral on Friday. However, there is one previous president that has decided to skip Reverend Billy Graham's funeral service, and it really comes as no surprise. Former President Barack Obama announced that he would not attend the funeral services of the beloved Reverend, but instead will focus on his own personal interests instead. During Obama's presidency, he claimed to the world that he was a Christian and that he supported religious freedom. However, that turned out not to be the case, as Obama did all that he could to target Christians with his actions and policies. For instance, who could forget Obama's stance on Hobby Lobby when they pushed back against his unconstitutional Obamacare mandate forcing employers to provide birth control, or his statements saying that rural Americans were foolish people who clung to their religion and guns. With all that being said, it comes as no surprise that when Reverend Billy Graham passed away last week, that Obama would not be a part of the memorial services to honor his life. Though while Obama's snub is predictable, what he is choosing to do that day is, needless to say, is disgusting. Barack Obama announced that he was choosing to skip the memorial for Graham and instead would travel to his hometown of Chicago to promote the building of his presidential library. Here is more from the Western Journal. Barack Obama has chosen not to participate in any of the events honoring evangelist Billy Graham this week, but he did carve out time to make a surprise visit to a community meeting in Chicago to promote the building of his presidential library. Graham met, and in some cases became close friends, with every president from Harry Truman to Obama during his tenure as America's pastor, which stretched from the 1940s to the 21st century. He in fact also earned the moniker of pastor to the presidents. Trump was not able to meet with Graham as president but was on hand to help celebrate the preacher's 95th birthday in 2013. Obama met Graham in the spring of 2010 at the evangelist's home in Montreat, North Carolina. As reported by the Western Journal, George W. Bush and his wife Laura traveled to Graham's library in Charlotte on Monday to pay their respects to the late Christian leader. Bush also came bearing greetings from his 93-year-old father George H. W. Bush, the nation's 41st president, saying, "I know he wished he could come too, but he's not moving around much these days, but his spirit and heart is here." Former President Jimmy Carter, also 93 and has experienced health challenges, sent his regrets. Former President Bill Clinton, like George W. Bush, made the journey to Charlotte on Tuesday. Clinton told reporters that he first heard Graham preach in Little Rock, Arkansas when the future politician was an 11-year-old boy. He said meeting him later as an adult was one of the most memorable events of his life. Clinton noted that Graham demanded that his 1959 Little Rock crusade be integrated and threatened to pull out when city leaders resisted. The pastor also became a strong supporter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s fight for racial equality. "The ground at the foot of the cross is level, and it touches my heart when I see whites standing shoulder to shoulder with blacks at the cross," Graham said. The Associated Press reported on Monday that Obama is not planning to attend memorial services for the late evangelist Reverend Billy Graham this week. As previously stated, it comes as no big shock that Barack Obama would not attend the funeral services, and to be perfectly honest, why would he? For years, Obama mocked the Christian faith with his attitude and administrative policies that created tremendous disrespect toward Christians, and that is not about to change after Graham's death. It is evident to the world that Obama only cares about one thing, and that is his legacy, and he is not about to let Graham overshadow him. At least, Graham will be laid to rest surrounded by people that honor and respect him, and not have someone attend his services that could care less about the Christian faith.